It's not been too long since my last video on Aston Villa, which was titled How Aston Villa Could Massively Improve in the 2020-21 Premier League season. With that video being at the beginning of September before the season and seeing how they've started, it's worth looking into what has changed. 4 games, 4 wins, 12 goals and just 2 conceded. This is a different team. So how have they started with a 100% win rate, and can we expect them to keep it up throughout the season? In my video last month, I heavily discussed the change in the defensive structure which was seen towards the end of the season. It was too easy for the opposition to get the ball through Villa's midfield, and it meant they were leaking goals for the majority of the campaign. The midfield triangle of a defensive midfielder and 2 central midfielders meant that when the central midfielders pressed, there was space in behind them for the opposition to work in. And as pointed out in this formation, the defensive midfielder should have been shifting between each flank depending on where the ball was, but this wasn't happening. After 4 games last season, Villa had won just 1 game, losing the other 3 and sat 18th in the table. It took them 13 games to hit over 12 points, which they've got this season in the quickest way possible with 4 wins out of 4. Dean Smith used the 4-3-3 and the 4-1-4-1 at the end of last season and for the first 2 games of this season. The midfield for this season's opening 2 consisted of Luiz, Hourihane and McGinn. But after the first 2 games, Dean opted for a 4-2-3-1 setup, and this is because they signed Ross Barkley. I previously said how Aston Villa should look for another midfielder, and the signing of Barkley was just what they needed. A midfielder who is well-rounded and can offer a lot to the team, but it seems he was signed with the vision of playing him in an attacking midfield role. So now it's Luiz and McGinn in the central midfield partnership with Barkley just in front of them. This means that out of possession they still find themselves in the same setup as the 4-3-3 used at the start, with Barkley being able to sit in between McGinn and Luiz. He was the right midfielder to bring in with his physical strength. He has a good balance of qualities in both attacking and defensive departments. On the topic of balance, he also balances out Villa's attack and takes the pressure off Grealish, as everything has gone through him previously. Now when teammates are looking to break down a defence, Barkley is another player who can operate higher up the pitch, creating chances and being in better positions to score. In the Leicester game, Grealish made the most passes in the attacking third and Barkley second with 14. Swapping Hourihane for Barkley means that the team isn't sitting so deep in possession. Barkley is instead looking for spaces to get the ball in the attacking third. But also he's a player who adds goals to the team, and he's already scored 2, with one of them being outside the box, a great shot with power to win against Leicester City. More crucially for the team, even with the addition of a more creative player, they've been able to keep their defensive structure, which they've improved so much over the last year. 3 clean sheets in 4 games, only conceded 2 goals which were both against Liverpool, which is usually expected against a side of their quality. In my previous Villa video, I mentioned how Trezeguet had a top performance against Arsenal in their 1-0 win, and how he proved himself to be very effective when pressing the opposition. And this is exactly what has heavily contributed to Villa's impressive start in the Premier League. Trezeguet pressing high and attempting to win the ball higher, different to how Villa used to be defending deeper. So far, he's attempted 96 pressures, the most of any Aston Villa player, the 6th most in the Premier League, and 22 of them were successful. Plus, take into account that Villa have played a game less than most other teams, so when that game in hand is played, expect him to be right near the top. And when we then take a look at the defensive stats from Villa so far, it's no surprise who's near the top of those. Trezeguet with 11 tackles won and 10 interceptions ranks him 2nd most for both, and we'll get onto who tops both of them soon. In the game against Leicester, he made the joint most ball recoveries with 9, 3 of them being in the opposition half, proving again his effectiveness at doing this job for the team. He's an underrated player in this team. Of course, others will get the credit for creating chances or scoring goals, but the job he does is very important for the side, helping out with keeping clean sheets that Villa needed most. And clean sheets mean the most to the goalkeeper, and that's another position where they've signed someone new in the summer transfer window. Martinez joined from Arsenal, where he'd proved himself after stepping in for Leno. Some impressive performances caught the eye of Aston Villa, who snapped him up for £17 million. And alongside the impressive clean sheet record this season, he's kept the highest save percentage with 87%. Also a penalty save on his debut against Sheffield United, so he'd started well from the very start. Villa had a rotation of goalkeepers throughout last season, with Heaton, Neeland and then Reina, who joined in January. This season they need more consistency in goal, and the signing of Martinez is already looking to be a very good one. Another new signing who has started very brightly is the right back Matty Cash. He joined from Championship side Nottingham Forest in a deal worth £16 million. Last year I discussed how the Championship is a brilliant league to sign players from, due to their experience of playing English football, level of quality needed to play in the Championship and value for money too. There have been many examples in recent seasons of these transfers being successful, and with the way Cash has started, it seems to be another another good example. He's been another major contributor to their defensive improvement. 13 tackles won along with 13 interceptions puts him above Trezeguet on both. Now so far for Aston Villa, he hasn't offered too much in an attacking sense, and we know for sure he's capable of this. I think there is still more to come from Matty Cash with his high work rate, being able to operate higher up the pitch where possible and making an overlapping run. We haven't even mentioned yet the 7-2 win against Liverpool, a game which showed what Ollie Watkins is capable of doing in the Premier League and how Dean Smith and the coaching staff analysed how to win against the opposition. They targeted the left side where Trent Alexander-Arnold was and exploited the space in behind the defence. Watkins was able to find some success on the left, getting on the end of many long balls from the goalkeeper. For his second goal, he was able to hold the ball on the left away from Trent, play a pass backwards to find Grealish, and then easily make a run behind Trent, exploiting the space behind the right back. And of course, Grealish provides Watkins with a fantastic pass in front of him where Watkins can run onto it, cut inside and finish fantastically in the top right corner. This instruction from the coaching team has to be praised as it got Villa off to a great start in the game, giving them momentum to go on and score more, knowing exactly where they can cause damage. As we've got used to now, Jack Grealish is continuing to show how good he is when creating chances and scoring goals too. It seems Southgate may be the only person who doesn't know. Key passes 15, the second most in the Premier League. Successful dribbles 13, the 6th most, alongside 3 goals and 3 assists. But as stated earlier in the video, Jack Grealish was the only player Aston Villa would look for, and even when he did have the ball, there wasn't brilliant options for him to pass to. Wesley never settled in right in his first season, but Watkins has joined and already Grealish has assisted twice for him, both of them coming in the Liverpool game. He showed his great qualities last season, but this season the change is that his qualities will be more effective. With Leeds coming up next, followed by Southampton and Arsenal, 3 very tough games for Villa. We'll see soon if they can keep up these impressive performances against some strong opposition. Leeds United, we know, are capable of scoring a lot and can be difficult to defend against. This will be very interesting to see how Villa can defend against them. Southampton press high up the pitch, but we know that their high defensive line can be exploited. We saw how Villa did exactly this against Liverpool, so watch out for this again. Comment below what are your predictions for those 3 games against Leeds, Southampton and Arsenal, and can Villa keep it up throughout the season? Get involved and let me know. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.